When do we talk about the fucking shows and movies? Thanks for the F shot.
I don't know, but these arms are feeling chewed up.
Show me what you got.
We'll drink it if you say.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Wasted Opinions. Today, we're talking about all of those gut punch, heart-wrenching moments from whether it be TV shows, movies, video games, maybe even a book that you read. Just those moments that kind of came out of nowhere, maybe changed the whole vibe of that show or that movie, and whether it's for the good or for the bad. It depends on different situations. So just without further ado, it is spoilers. Spoiler alert right here, because there's going to be some spoilery things definitely within this conversation. And before I get too far, I am CountryBoy 9. I don't usually say the 9 in this part, but I'm CountryBoy 9, if you didn't know that already. And to the far right with the Oilers shirt on,
MussKeg. And I am the owner of a genuine Looney Tunes jacket. I'm LewisLightning.
I thought he was going to say Ford.
Gentleman Ford. Starting us off, let's go with the guy in the middle here, Mr. Red. Oh, sorry, before we do that, drinks. Our
It
shot.
looks like it says murder.
We forget these drinks.
It's because
Well, we did. And there was another episode where we forgot in the past.
It just slides and sticks on your throat.
Okay. So, heart-wrenching gut punch moments. I'm going to go with one from a video game. And it's not going to be one you think. I mean, because I think someone's going to say it, but I think everyone's going to overlook in The Last of Us. Towards, I would say, probably 3/4 of the way through, you meet two brothers. There's Henry and Sam. Mm-hmm. And I think Henry's the older one.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Henry's the older one.
You know, one of the Henry's like maybe 20. He's like,
early,
young
maybe
adult.
late teens, probably, yeah.
Late teens, maybe young
He's got a
adult.
lot of burden.
Yeah.
But he's kind of taking care of his little brother who's like 12 to maybe 14, 15.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're surviving, and then you help, like, you get into a little situation with them. And, you know, he's helping you get through there with Sam. And Sam, unfortunately, gets bit. Yeah. To me, just the reactions of everyone involved is very realistic. Because Sam, first of all, does not want to even say he got bit. He's just really disappointed. He's like, no, he's mad at himself, really. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, when Henry finds out that he's bit and he's infected, there's only one thing to be done.
The big fight happens, too, with, like, you know, with Joel and such, too. It's like...
But there's only one thing that can be done, and Henry knows what it is. Yeah. So Henry has to put down his own
brother.
Baby brother. Yeah. And then after that, and I remember, the way I remember it anyways, is like as Joe and Ellie are leaving, and Sam kills himself like just at the end, it's just like he couldn't deal with that grief and the pain of losing his brother, because he was supposed to be, you know, the protector. He saw himself as being responsible for his little brother.
Yeah. He was good, too. He was a good brother. He was a good big brother.
You know. I'll say the HBO series did a good job of recreating that as well, too.
Yeah. I have not seen it yet.
You played the game, so you know the first season, basically, anyways. But yeah, they did an awesome job of that, and the game.
I think it's the one that gets forgotten about because of another one that happens in there, but I'll leave that one for you guys if you're interested.
Sure.
I mean, that whole game is fucking there.
There's definitely a lot of heart-wrenching moments in that game. I'll go over to you then.
Oh, me? Okay, sure.
Why not?
I'm going to go with one that I've talked about several times, so just to get it out of the way. You know, when we do our shows, we always try to think, can I think of a video game? Can I think of a movie? Can I think of a TV? I definitely had a harder time thinking of video game ones. It hasn't happened as much for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with one that it's number one with a bullet for me. It is for many people. Talked about it, I know, for many times. But in the Telltale Walking Dead games, when Clementine has to basically say goodbye to Lee or kill Lee, depending on how your decisions went. This protector, this like father-daughter relationship of a non-father-daughter that built and was essentially the whole story. And you played mostly as Lee, so it was like your character as well. The heartbreaking like voice acting in that from the voice actress for Clementine just. It still gets me to this day.
The trembling in her voice.
Yeah, the pure innocence and heartbreak, and you know, it's a balance of like you're sad because this character you loved is gonna die. Yeah. You're sad, but you're also sad for this little girl because she's going to be all alone. She doesn't have anybody, and that's how the game technically ends too. Is just this poor, like, innocent girl who's kind of learned in the world, but she's still sweet and still. It gets me every time.
Yeah. And yeah, when I think of video games, those are the first two that come to mind when it comes to like heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the one I'm going to do is actually, it's about a movie, and it's not even a movie that I particularly even like, especially because of this moment. But it's, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Mowgli. It's not the Disney one about Jungle Book. It's the one that Andy Serkis did. Yeah. No. You know, I was kind of liking it. It was decent. It was good. It was very good animation, and I liked the characters and all that stuff. But there's this one young wolf that is like best friends with Mowgli throughout the movie. He's kind of dumber. Something's wrong with him. He's a little abnormal. He's not quite normal like all the wolves. I think he gets picked on a lot. Abnormal. But he's super fun. He's super happy. He's very nice, likable, and Mowgli's his best friend because neither of them really fit in because they're both different. And then at one point, Mowgli he discovers this village and there's people there, and his wolf friend is telling him, he doesn't want him to go there because he doesn't trust it. But Mowgli gets mad at him and he yells at him and he basically tells him to get away from me. You're no longer my friend. Mm-hmm. All that. Then Mowgli goes and he befriends the people at the village, and he befriends especially this one guy. He's a hunter, and at one point,
where this is going.
And at one point, he's really close to them. He's chummy. They're really close. And at one point, he's in his hut and he's looking at all the different things that he's killed, and out of nowhere, it's totally unnecessary. You see the head of his best friend throughout the movie. That. It was totally unwarranted. It came out of nowhere. It actually made me ill to see this because this was like the most happy-go-lucky kid wolf, and this guy had just killed it and taxidermied it, and Mowgli is looking at him dead in the face, literally dead in the face because he's dead now. And it was just
like explained it.
It honestly took away the emotionality a little bit there. He's dead.
It honestly ruined it. It ruined the movie. Like anything that was going for this movie. It ruined it right there.
That seems like some great writing.
I would not. No, it was terrible. It's terrible writing. Usually you would have like a redemptive arc for someone like that. This, they're like, he's made fun of. He's a terrible. No, nobody's friends with him. Usually you'd have people become friends with him at the end of the movie. Here they're like, nah, we're gonna kill him. And this is supposed to be a family movie. I'm not gonna show my kids this movie where this happy, really nice young pup of a wolf just gets murdered for no reason. I thought it was terrible. I hated it. But it made me ill inside. It made me ill.
No. Oh. No, I mean, it sounds like sad.
I know, I said dead in the eyes.
So, for my next heart-wrenching gut punch moment, I know, like, so far, we all of ours is resolved around death in some way.
But it doesn't have to be.
I'm going to go with something still lost. It's something still lost, but no one died at least. Shazam, the first Shazam movie. Billy Batson, when it starts off, he's a little kid and he's at the fair with his mom, and as far as he knows, he just got lost. Mm-hmm. And he ends up in an orphanage. He was maybe 6-7 years old when that happened. It seemed pretty young. Yeah. And then, the story really takes place when he's 16 years old. So he lived half his life without his mom or any family in this foster care system. And the one big thing is that he always wants to find his parents, his mom and stuff. And then, he eventually figures it out. He goes and he finds the apartment she's staying at, and he locates her, and she's there, and she's just like, yeah, I wasn't ready for you. It's like, I left you there. I saw you with the park employee, and I thought you were better. And it's like, the whole movie, all he wanted was his mom. And you just find out, she didn't care. He was just a burden to her, and she just left him. She saw him there, crying, talking to, the park attendants and security who were looking for her, and she just left. She didn't want to help her. I don't know. See your own kid brutal. Crying and scared alone.
Joe Dirt on.
I'd have Shazammed her ass.
And I mean, when you see her, it's maybe it's for the best. She's a pretty terrible person. Yeah. But you still feel for Billy, who's a good kid.
Exactly. Who's been longing for her all these years.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
Damn.
Yeah, she just didn't.
She really left his ass when she left him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I actually like this concept. I was looking at my list, and they don't all have to be death sequences to be a heartbreaking moment. So I'll go with one on my list that I have that isn't there's no death to it, but the concept, especially as a parent, it is just absolutely you don't know how to describe it. It's from a Christopher Nolan movie, The Interstellar.
Yeah.
So there's a sequence in that movie that movie faced a lot on space and time and how they work together and etc. And one of the moments in the movie is they have to go down to a planet that's very close to a black hole. As we all know, mass distorts time and reality.
I've been there.
Everything. Yeah,
As we all
exactly.
know it.
And so the way it works out is for anybody that's on that planet, essentially an hour on that planet is going to work out to like,
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the number, but an
I
hour
think it was
is
like
like
every second was
every
almost
minute.
like,
Every minute I
almost
think
like
was
a
like every minute was because the second thing you're thinking about was the Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was like
a day.
that was a day.
That was a
or
day
yeah,
every
sorry.
time it went.
But basically, it was like
yeah.
every minute you were down there was this. I think a minute was a year in your life, essentially, or whatever. And the plan is they're going to go down there and be quick, get in, get out, get the samples. But obviously, they run into complications, etc. And by the time they come back, the guy that they'd left on the ship, like who thought they were just going to be gone for a little bit, they've been gone for like 27 years, essentially. And he, I felt bad for him. But the real heartbreaking moment to set this all up is, he had to leave Matthew McConaughey's character had to leave his kids behind on Earth to try and save the world. And so he comes back and he's got this absolute video log of videos from his kids. And so it's like most of them are from his son, and he sees his son basically growing up, having kids, losing a child, etc. all through this thing. And his daughter comes on later and she's angry at him for being gone for so long. And Matthew McConaughey fucking nails it. Like, he acts the shit out of that.
Holy shit! You see it in his face and the tears he comes.
You think about, you don't even need to be a parent. You think about unexpectedly being away from somebody in your life for 27 years. I'm not expecting it
when
on
I
either
saw it
side.
in theaters, I felt the emotionality. I didn't have kids yet, and I still felt that. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So nobody died, but extremely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So
Totally. That's mine now.
it's John.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the TV show, and there's a few moments in this show. Breaking
Anatomy.
Bad. Breaking Bad. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. It's gone on for how many? 28, 30 years, something like that. We're talking about Breaking Bad. Definitely my favorite TV show of all time. But there's a bunch of moments I could pick up, but this one it surprised me. It hit me hard, and it surprised me. It's one of the best episodes with the train heist. They have to get this
My favorite episode.
methylamine. They gotta get this methylamine out of this tank car, so they gotta stop it on the tracks. And it's very intense episode.
It's a heist.
Fantastic episode. And they pull it off. Everything goes to plan. Everything's awesome.
No hitch.
And then they turn around and there's this kid on a dirt bike that saw everything.
I mean, loose end.
And Todd, played by Jesse Plemons, one of the most fantastic actors.
Guy,
out there.
any movie he's in makes it
I
better.
love him. Just pulls out a gun and just shoots the kid dead right there. And I did not see that coming whatsoever. Because Todd, up until this moment, he was just there like following Walter White's orders. He would always do whatever Walter White said. He didn't show any emotionality, but it seemed like he was just interested in his job, and he wanted to kind of become like him.
Yep.
Whereas in this scene, he was like, "Yeah, I gotta kill this kid because he saw everything and he's gonna just tell everybody." And it was just Jesse, is just devastated.
Yeah.
Just breaks down right there, and that's how I felt watching. I was like, "Holy fuck." That is horrible. Like, this fucking kid is just on a dirt bike. He's just collecting a tarantula that he
Stone
found.
cold.
And he just kills him right then and there. And Walter was kind of like, yeah, that was bad, but
That's
he
a
was
turning
like,
point for
it was
Walter
like,
too, because
kinda needed to
that's where
happen.
Walt and Jesse just really did their split, right?
Yeah, and oh man, fantastic all around, just very emotional moment, very emotional.
Now Luke has no reason to watch the show because he knows that happens.
Yeah,
So for then my third pick for these moments, I'm going back to video games, and I can't remember if it was God of War Ghost of Sparta or God of War Chains of Olympus, where Kratos he can go to the afterlife, to Tartaros, and he sees his daughter, and he can be with her, and like that's, if you played any of the games, that's pretty much all he fucking wants, to go back and see his wife and daughter. And the villain in it, I can't remember who it is, but they're like, yeah, you can stay here and I'm going to destroy the rest of the world.
I think it was Morpheus at the time, at that scene.
But it's going to like destroy everything. Like Tartaros will be gone too eventually. Even like the souls in the afterlife will be gone. But he'll be able to stay with his daughter till then, right? All he ever wants. But he knows he can't because he'll still lose her. Everyone will lose everything if he doesn't act.
Yeah.
So his daughter's like sitting there, like holding his arm and leg, and
Clinging to him.
there's like a quick time event where you like push her away, and she keeps coming back, and you're like, no. And he eventually just pushes her away, and she's crying. And
I would have just broke the game right there.
he leaves, and he leaves, goes back, but it's like,
Did you?
I pushed her away.
quit the game right there. Like, nope, he stayed.
This is how it ends. It's
But yeah,
happy.
it was something you don't want to do. Like, you're
Yeah.
playing the game, it's like, the game makes you go through that. And you're like, I have to. Sorry, Client Pete.
Yeah.
Hitting the button, but
And
yeah.
he picks her up and then she turns into ashes. He spins her in the air. Right?
Sounds familiar.
But yeah, another video game.
Which one was that? Sorry, which God of War was
It was
that?
the first PSP one. I can't remember if it was.
I think it's Chains of Olympus.
Chains of Olympus sounds right. I think Ghost of Sparta was a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I'm having a tough time kind of narrowing down. There was a great Grey's Anatomy one where this little girl has Tay-Sachs disease and the dad has to say, "Oh, I don't want to cry," so I'm not going to bring it up. Also, we don't have a lot of Grey's Anatomy fans in our audience. So
I don't know. I never talked to them.
yeah, I do all the time. So I'm going to go with one from a movie as well, a comedy movie, Shaun of the Dead. And I guess there's a little bit of theme here, a lot of zombie stuff here, which maybe the reason zombie stuff goes is because it feels like it takes the choice out of it sometimes to make the decision.
You
like
know exactly what
the
has to
disease makes the decision for you. But this one specifically always gets me at the Winchester, or what's the name of that? Is it the Winchester?
Winchester.
Yeah, the
The bar?
Winchester, yeah, the bar.
Yeah.
There's a sequence where, they've been saving off and they finally fended off all these zombies and they feel like they're safe. And main character Sean, his mom, who I think part of the reason this hits me so hard is his mom. She kind of looks a little bit like my mom to a degree, not like spitting image, and she has like the same personality. She's just this nice person who just doesn't want to be a bother to anybody and blah blah blah. But he finds out that she's bitten, and she's the group is sad about it. There's one absolute dick, who's like, "We gotta shoot her, no problem," and there's this point where he's like, "It's my mom, I can't," and he, he's bringing the shotgun and he's looking, and it's heartbreaking. I think because of the whole, like, for me personally, it's like, it kind of reminds me of my mom, but the concept of just having to do that to somebody, to your mom is brutal, and that was a heart-wrenching moment for me.
I thought you were going to say the moment where he had to kill his stepdad to the music with those
That
things.
wasn't his
crying,
stepdad. That wasn't his
crying.
stepdad. That was just one of the bar. That was one of the patrons
Oh,
of the bar.
right. Okay, yeah.
His stepdad.
They killed in the apartment.
He doesn't even get killed. He gets left in the Jaguar as they kind of run away. He turns inside the Jag,
Yeah.
and they leave him, and he turns off the radio because it's too loud at the end, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with that's a good one. This one kind of surprised me. I was actually watching it the other day. It's another TV show. It's from a show I wouldn't have expected to give me a heart-wrenching moment. It's from How I Met Your Mother. Say what you want about that show.
Damn it! Can I change mine?
It's a creative show. I'll say it's got a lot of creative bits to it. Like the way they do every episode is something sort of different. They always have maybe different themes. And this episode, there was a countdown. And you didn't really know what the countdown. You just every time they pick something up, they pick a number on it, or they'd be glance at the screen. There'd be a different number. It was always counting down from, I forget what number it started at, counting down to 1. At the very end, you're thinking it's because Marshall and Lily, they're trying to have a kid. You think maybe they had the good news that they're pregnant, but they've been trying to get. They've been seeing a fertility doctor all episode.
Trying to reach Marshall.
Trying to reach Marshall's dad. They see his dad throughout the episode, but they. What they're doing is, they're trying to make sure that they're both fertile. Turns out they're both fertile. It counts down to 1. Lily steps out of the cab and says,
wish I picked this one.
And says Marshall, and he's like, "Oh, it's such good news. We can have a kid." He said, "No, it's your dad. She said that he had a heart attack and he didn't make it."
He says, "I'm not ready for this."
And he goes, "I'm not ready for this." And he breaks down. And he's like, "Holy shit, man! This is." That was not expected at all for an episode that was supposed to be about them like having a family starting a new, did not expect that whatsoever, and it hit me even just the other day when I watched that episode. It was surprising.
That I wish I'd had that, because I was just thinking about that episode, I think yesterday even, and I didn't even think to add it to the list. That when he says, "I'm not ready for this," that's one of the most gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching lines for me in a sitcom period. So
Yeah.
So
So,
you want to keep going, or
if you guys have one more you want to toss up there just quickly, sure.
I got my fourth one. I gotta look it up. Oh yeah, from the movie The Flash. Right at the end. It's what Barry's got to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the story of The Flash, Barry Allen's mother gets murdered. His father goes to jail for it, although he didn't commit it. In the movie The Flash, Barry goes. Spoilers. I know MussKeg hasn't seen it, so
We suppose at the beginning of the
Not gonna watch it. It's DC. It's crap.
So the whole thing in that movie is that he changes his mother getting murdered. He saves her, so she lives, and he goes on to have a happy life. They find out that like a butterfly effect. There's like ripples through everything that happens in the universe.
It's a tsunami in Japan or something.
The whole world gets fucked. Like when Zod comes to Earth in Superman Man of Steel, Superman wasn't around to stop him, so Zod kind of wins and he just destroys the Earth. Everyone dies. Yeah. So Barry finds out that the only way to stop this all is to let his mom die. So the whole thing was his mom was making pasta and his dad ran out to get tomatoes for this
Tomato
sauce, I think it was, yeah.
The sauce.
And Barry saved him by putting it where his dad could easily find it and he could return home in time before she got murdered. He has to go back and put it, or he switches it out from the cart, right? Sorry, his mom was shopping. She bought the sauce, but he's got to take it out of her cart and make her have to send the dad away when she gets murdered. And like, he goes back in time, just effectively he's killing her by taking it out of her cart and putting it back on the shelf so she forgets. And like,
he speaks to her as his older self too. She doesn't know who he is.
Couldn't he have like followed along and done more things to just try and? Sorry,
she can't live. That's the thing.
No, but like, couldn't he have done something to make sure Zod didn't live? Like
he tried.
There were alternate versions of himself, and he's tried.
And there was just one way.
Sort of.
Apparently so. That was the only way that they found.
Yeah.
So he, like you said, he talks to her, and he just basically, as to her, a stranger tells him that he loves her. Yeah. And she'll never know. Yeah. Never know, because she gets murdered that afternoon.
It is a very sad moment. Yeah. It is. Yeah. I don't know if you have another one there, MussKeg.
Yeah, I mean, again, sad death one. The movie The Perfect Storm, specifically, there's a specific moment in The Perfect Storm. True story, which always makes these a little sadder, but specifically, the Andrea Gale's going down, it's sinking, everybody on the ship has realized that this is going to happen. And John C. Reilly plays this big, burly character, etc. He's trapped in a spot with another guy as the water's rising. And the last thing he says as he looks over at the guy that he's with, he's like, "This is going to be hard on my little boy." And that was it, Mm-hmm. And the very gut-wrenching, very sad.
It's over face.
Because somebody dying is one thing, but how it affects everybody else, especially kids, is a big thing. So
Well, speaking of kids, my last one is it's a Taika Waititi movie. It's Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit. It's and it's set in World War II, and most World War II movies are a lot more serious, and you think that this one would kind of be serious. It's actually more comedic.
He plays Hitler.
Taika Waititi plays Hitler. Well, his
fictional
imaginary friend version of Hitler. Yeah. But he's in it. It's comedic. It's lighthearted. There's nothing. I mean, it's obviously got the seriousness of World War II going on, but it doesn't really play up to that at all. And then there's one moment where he's walking down the street. His mom is Scarlett Johansson, and they made it very
against war.
Clear. She's against the Nazi, but she wasn't obviously very open about it. She was kind of secretive about being against the Nazi stuff. So he Jojo Rabbit, the boy. I forget what his name is. If he's Jojo, I forget what his fucking name is.
Jojo.
Sure, we'll go with that. I forget what his name was. He goes walking down the street, and he bumps into something. He looks up. He sees these shoes. He's like,
distinctive shoes.
Very distinctive. You've seen them before. They're his mother's shoes. And he looks up and he just starts hugging the legs of the person that he ran into, because his mother is hanging in the middle of the street along with a bunch of other people that were against the whole Nazi propaganda dissenters. Exactly.
Obviously they found out that she was against.
Totally changed the tone of the movie. It was way more serious at that point. And even the main character wasn't as happy-go-lucky after that fact. It was a good movie, but it was
Jojo.
I did not expect
Jojo.
that. Maybe it is. It's called Jojo Rabbit.
What's wrong, Jojo?
But it definitely changed the tone of the movie, and I did not expect that whatsoever, and it was super heart-wrenching to see that.
Yeah, that was one that I was considered too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can we throw out my honorable mentions real quick?
Sure.
So Last of Us, I already kind of nodded it when Sarah gets shot in the very beginning.
Yeah, I thought that for sure was going to be on yours.
No, I wanted to see it. I thought you guys maybe used that, that's why I waited.
I thought you were going to say it.
TV show Young Justice. There's a scene where Barry Allen, Wally West, and Impulse Kid Flash, they have to run around this thing to draw off the power to make it stop from destroying the world. Thing is, Wally West is slower than the other one, so he keeps getting hit by the energy, and like it's making him disappear from existence. And his last words, because he knows he has to do this to kind of draw the power to save the world, but he's gonna die, and his last words like, "Tell my mom and dad I'm sorry," and then he just disappears. And then afterwards, Artemis comes up. She's like, "Where's Wally?" And they can't tell her. They just shake their head. And the last one, My Girl.
Oh yeah. He can't see
bees.
without his glasses.
Right, bees.
He still goes to the bees and gets that ring for it.
He can't see without his glasses.
Yeah.
That was it.
For sure.
I just two nominees. I said it earlier, but if you ever want to cry, Google Grey's Anatomy Tay-Sachs Girl. It's heart wrenching. It is. I'm gonna make John watch it afterwards.
I'm not watching Grey's Anatomy.
I know. I'm not gonna make him watch it. Yeah. And then the other one. Watch the entire third episode of the Last of Us TV series. Heart wrenching. Bill.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other guy's name, but
Frank. I think it was Frank.
Bill and Frank. Bill and Frank. That entire
Beans and Frank.
Yeah. They only like allude to it a bit in the
in the game.
In the game.
Yeah,
It's a very good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I guess I'll toss in a couple too. Then, Walking Dead. For me, it was season 2 when Sophia walks out of the barn. The little girl they were looking for all season. Turns out she was dead. Or undead. She was in the barn this whole time. And yeah, she's a kid, like a 12-year-old girl or something like that. And then another one.
Her.
Game of Thrones has a whole bunch that are like out of the blue, surprises you. But the one that I'm thinking of right now is Jon Snow's death, when he gets stabbed to death by all of his people that are following him on the wall there. Because I didn't see that coming. There was obviously the Red Wedding that everybody knows about, and that's a big one. But Jon Snow dying, I didn't immediately think that he was ever going to come back or anything. And it showed him literally died. He was dead, and he was a big.
And
part
that
of
hadn't been a thing of the show, like coming back. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it was sort of.
Well, there was
the one guy,
the White Walkers.
the guy with the patch.
Yeah, okay, that dude. Yes,
Yeah,
he was.
but,
They did talk about that. So yeah, and then you obviously realize, was it Melisandre was the witch lady that?
Yeah.
So also after rewatching it, I was like, oh shit, maybe she's gonna.
Can I just piggyback 2 more Game of Thrones ones too? Like when Shireen, Stannis Baratheon's daughter, they burn her alive at the stake.
Fuck yeah.
That's one. And then the other one, shit, I just had it. It was in my head. Somebody died. Oh, Hold the Door.
Oh, Hodor, yeah.
That one got me probably the most.
Yeah, that was that was a harsh one. Anyway, we didn't bring any tissues, so we're gonna have to go cry in the corner somewhere. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Or
Where
on
can
each
we find
other's
everybody?
shoulders.
I'm the LewisLightning. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch.
MussKeg. You can find me crying on Lou's shoulder on Twitch, Twitter, PSN.
And I'm CountryBoy_9, also CountryBoy9 on a bunch of other places, where you can find me unboxing stuff like this Homer right here.
You're streaming that? You're crying on your shoulder. You can find me on
I think if people would watch it.
People probably would. People watch a lot of weird shit. Like this.
See you.
That's all I think of when I see ring lights now is OnlyFans. Oh, I forgot to do the Thor Ragnarok thing. I was going to do it at the
loser.
Damn it!
Complete loser.
Well, we got it.
Can we do like a video clip? Be like
We'll
Thor
throw it-
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
We'll throw it in the
That'll be the stinger.
stinger.
It'll be the only thing in that
The
episode
only
that actually looks
okay,
this
anyways.
good quality.
Okay.
You got your forward. I'll go backward.
Okay.
No, wait.
I'll go no.
Sideways.